person is nothing but someone who failed and tried one more time, and he never gave up. And today's guest proved this statement right in every manner. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of F&B Talks, powered by the Restaurant Times. I am Prachi Ahuja, and today we have with us Bhupinder Madaan, founder Theka Coffee. He's our Shark Tank hero who started with one small coffee kiosk in the streets and now is selling more than 5 lakh coffee bottles with 55 plus franchises in India and a 5 crore plus turnover. Bhupinder started his entrepreneurial journey at a very young age. Coming from a humble beginning, he struggled with self confidence. Overcoming hurdles is a part of his exceptional journey. His first attempt in business was selling momos on the street, which transited into a parantha business before moving on to the coffee selling business. Bhupinder got his first major exposure when he pitched his idea at the Shark Tank India for Theka Coffee. While he didn't secure the deal on the show, but the coverage that he received resulted in a growth that nobody could have imagined. Today, Theka Coffee has over 55 plus franchisee outlets pan India and has partnership from Microsoft and Reliance. Welcome to F&B Talks, Bhupinder. It is always amazing to have great leaders like you here in our community.
Thank you. That was actually a great introduction, by the way. I'm going to use this introduction all across.
Definitely, Bhupinder.
Thank
So
you.
before I start, I really want to know that what inspired you to start Theka Coffee and how did the idea came up, and what was the source of inspiration for a novel concept, to serve freshly brewed coffee in glass bottles.
Okay. So actually, the inspiration is more based out of my learnings from my past. As you mentioned, I've done a lot of food industry businesses, but I could not scale them up. That's one thing that inspired me, that I wanted to create a brand which can scale up. Second is, if you talk about brand ideologies, packaging and all those things, that actually the inspiration came because I was having beer. I remember I was sitting at social and I was having beer over there. When I was having beer over there, तब मेरे को realize हुआ कि मेरे बाजू में जो बैठा था उसने coffee order करी, and that coffee came in that soggy glass, which was very boring. So I was laughing that I'm holding something very cool and you have something very soggy in your hand. That's the exact point I thought about, that I'll give cold coffees in a very cool manner, because me personally, I love holding those beer bottles. मतलब मुझे बहुत मजा आता है पीने से ज़्यादा. The fun part is holding that bottle, and that's where the inspiration came from. Ultimately, I think because I love to be perfect in whatever I'm doing, I made sure that I developed the product pretty well and then served it in the beer bottle. Earlier, I just wanted to sell any kind of coffees. But then when I got into it deep, I understood that there's a huge gap in premix powder coffee and freshly brewed coffee. So that's when we decided to go completely deep into it and sell one of the best coffees across India.
Amazing to know that. So how come, that inspiration came into the business?
So inspiration was more, again, as I mentioned, the inspiration was just to ensure that people are having coffees in a cool manner, because coffees are still very boring. You go to any cafe, you will always get cappuccinos and lattes. There is nothing Indian about it. All the cafes have exactly the same menu. You go to any of the, again, local chains which are selling you coffees, they serve it in that glass, which is very, very not, I personally don't like to hold them ultimately. So the whole inspiration was to ensure that we make coffee drinking a cool habit, and you should enjoy holding that particular drink in your hand. Also the ordering process. So when you order a cappuccino latte, you don't laugh on it, but when you order a Palang Tod, you're laughing about it. So that's what inspired us to bring some change in the whole coffee industry.
So coming on to the next question from here, only like Palang Tod, Coffee Ki Jawani, how did you get these unique names transformed into actually a coffee name?
So these are actually the names that I used to use in my local language and life. This episode, next level, is something that I still use all the time. That you're such a next level person. What a next level business you have created. All these are actually the words that I use in my life. But then we connected it with our coffee. So what happens is, Palang Tod coffee is a very dark roasted coffee bean. It's actually a very strong coffee. When you talk about next level coffee, it's a level above normal roast of coffee. That's why it's next level. And Coffee Ki Jawani is a light roast of coffee, which is a Jawan roast of coffee. So that's why it's named as Coffee Ki Jawani, basically. So we connected our slangs with this, and I personally think it did not take a lot of time, because it's my personality in the brand. If you know your personality well, it takes very less time for you to write down your menus and all the ideas and branding.
Absolutely agree. Moving ahead, I am certain of the fact that coming this far and the journey of Theka would have been not have been, this easy that we can see. So, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced in your early phase, and how did you overcome them?
I think the biggest challenge I faced was your self learning, because I think every moment when you're trying to work in your daily life, because you have to achieve your goals, you have to complete your tasks, you always forget to learn, and you don't get time to research on new things. So मेरे को personally ऐसा लगता है कि if you keep some time for yourself and you research on your goals and you try to make sure that you're gaining more knowledge through people, by exposure, by knowledge through Instagram, YouTube, anywhere. But ultimately, if you don't keep doing that, as I was not doing it, I was failing. That's what I realized, because everything is evolving very soon, especially in food industry. Things evolve very quick. Other than that, I always feel that the challenge that I faced was I'm not good with finances. I was never good with finances, and financial knowledge is something that people lack ultimately when they are doing food industry businesses, and especially when they are scaling up. So I made sure that I learned that pretty well. So now I'm pretty good with my numbers. I know how my business is operating. I know every part of my business from financial point of view. So this was my major challenge. Rest all I think is very easy to solve. These two challenges are something that people don't even know that these are important parts of your business to be taken care in the initial days, especially.
No, that's apt. That's accurate.
Yeah,
Finance, where somebody needs to be very strong whenever they're, opening any business, irrespective of field, I think.
exactly, exactly.
So coming on to the next question here regarding to this, pandemic was a game changer for everybody, and F&B industry was one of the biggest industry that was, hit the worst by the pandemic. So what was your experience of surviving these times throughout, and what strategy worked out best for Theka Coffee?
So again, going back to the old days when we started our business, we started it on a coffee cart. Basically, my first business, Theka Coffee, started on a cart. We got diverted into starting bigger cafes and chains and all those things. Ultimately, when pandemic happened, we lost all our outlets because of our fixed expenses being very high, and we already scaled up. My financial knowledge, as I said, was not that great about the business. So due to all these challenges, when pandemic came, we lost the whole brand. The brand got shut down. The best part was I personally don't take failures that seriously. I think I keep my personality different and my business side different. I don't join both together. So I was laughing about it. I just started my brand from my basic level, which is coffee cart. Again, I went to basics. I started from the street again, and then scaled it up. I went to Shark Tank, and it helped me promote my business, which is why we are successful today. But the learning that I got during COVID was that you need to always, in the today's world, create a sustainable business model. You can't depend on a very high fixed expenses or very strong operations wala business. You need to have your operations very lean and simple, and your business should be very sustainable. Which means if today I have pandemic hits business, I might not lose money. I will be like, just shut my kiosk down, keep it at one location. Whenever pandemic ends up, I will be rotating the business again. So my fixed expenses are not, my capex is not fixed anywhere anymore. So that's something that we learned. Baki, I think it was a journey of everybody's learning, because merely the pandemic, it was very bad for people, life loss and that I'm not considering for business also. But for me, it was more of a good times. I enjoyed that period because since my very young childhood, I've been working. So that 3 months I was actually enjoying. I was watching movies, I was learning, I was trying to explore new agendas in this particular industry. So it really was smooth. It was not that bad for me personally.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So here I really am curious to know about your experience in the Shark Tank.
So Shark Tank was actually fantastic. I really want कि जो भी इंसान अगर ये देख रहा है, please go to Shark Tank, please try to apply and be there. Even if you have some kind of doubts about yourself, just go. And that's what I personally feel. The experience was amazing. I applied for it. So prior to Shark Tank, I tried 1,000 VC firms and angel investors before I reached there. My purpose was not to go to Shark Tank, but just get funding to survive my business. That was the only goal. So ultimately, I filled up a form. I don't know how did I fill. I don't even remember. They started approaching, things worked out. I went to the audition was very smooth, and the good part is they understood my business pretty well. The moment I explained it to them, they understood it pretty well, and they are very smart people who understand things from the bottom. And post that, I got selected. The moment I got selected, when the show was about to be shot, I think it's one of the best experiences anybody can get when you are walking inside that podium and you have people in front of you. I have never experienced something like this. That is the moment you test yourself of your whole past experiences, because that's when your real confidence comes out, if you have really worked on yourself in life or not. क्योंकि अगर आपने नहीं किया होगा, and if you're a little fake or you're not actually up to the mark, you will actually fumble there and you will not be able to pitch well, or maybe not give the answers pretty well. So I think it's a very good testing ground as an entrepreneur, that you should be there. My journey was super smooth. I loved it all through. मतलब मेरे को जब funding नहीं भी मिली थी तब भी I was so happy कि यार I actually managed to talk. Ultimately, उनसे जो बातें करी और वहां जाके जो experience मिला, that was one of the best things.
Wow, amazing to know that, Bhupinder. So here, I really want to know this question, that India is a highly competitive market, as you know. The
Right.
coffee culture is brewing strongly in the market, and we are, a coffee over tea now. And with the competition as well, how does Theka differentiate itself from the competition and make it unique?
Personally, don't focus on
What-
competition. मतलब आई डोंट हैव फोकस ऑन कंपटीशन. मैंने आज तक देखा ही नहीं मेरे कॉम्पिटिटर कौन है. मैं सिर्फ मेरा बिजनेस अच्छा करता हूँ, मेरा प्रोडक्ट बहुत टेस्टी है और मैं मेरे प्रोडक्ट को बेस्ट जगहों पे अवेलेबल करने की ट्राई करता हूँ. If people like to drink my product, they will have it. If they like somebody else's product, they will drink that. So I personally, and this is genuine, I really don't find anybody as a competitor. Neither do I look at what they are doing. मैंने कभी जिंदगी में किसी की प्रोफाइल खोल के भी नहीं देखी as a competition कि वो कर क्या रहे हैं या कहाँ खोल रहे हैं. I personally do whatever I like is what I sell. If I like my coffee and I'm ethically putting work behind my coffee, which is in the kitchen, I'm really working hard behind it, then I know that it's going to work out. And that's how I operate.
Absolutely. So this is like something very unique about the,
Yeah.
So Kyo, as you told me that from being a small scale startup to renowned brand as Theka, the growth of Theka Coffee has been really inspiring and an inspirational one. I'd really like you to tell our audience the secret sauce of making F&B business, and what is that one thing that an F&B business should, must get the right for the success of their business.
So if you talk about one thing getting right is product. My skin in my game, my brand during failures se leke aaj tak has been because my product is very nice. I love my product from my side and it's been built in a very, very nice manner. I've always been confident only about my product, nothing else. Even if tomorrow my business fails, I'll still be with Theka. That's because I love my product. I know I can sell it. So one is that. So uske alawa सबसे घटिया जगह पे भी बिजनेस करो, गंदी से गंदी ब्रांडिंग डालो, लेकिन प्रोडक्ट क्वालिटी एंड उसका जो टेस्ट है वो अप टू डेट होना चाहिए. दैट्स व्हाट आई ऑलवेज फील. उसके अलावा आई थिंक कटिंग इट शॉर्ट टू व्हाट आई कैन गिव एज अ नॉलेज फ्रॉम माय साइड और द पीरियड ऑफ एक्सपीरियंसेस. You always start small, you scale quickly, you sell quality, be affordable and work really hard. That's it. Those 5 points is my thought process on which I always work. So anything I start, it's always based on these 5 points.
Amazing, Bhupinder. Now, what is the growth plan or the expansion plan for Theka from here now onwards, and what do you want? Where do you want to take it next?
So we are present in I think 60 locations now. We are opening 2 locations every 3 to 4 days, and I think by next 2 to 3 months, that's between March, April, we will be present in almost 150 plus locations. By July, we'll be present in Dubai. That's our global plan that we have. And then let's see wherever the journey takes. We are just working very hard to reach wherever the journey is taking us. मतलब ऐसा है कि we just want to reach at a point that's where we are serving 1,000 locations per coffee. अब वो कहाँ है? That's not something that we are planning. As the opportunities are coming, we are opening our doors and accepting it happily.
So, according to you, what is the best expansion, strategy or best expansion plan one should follow in F&B business?
So low capex and low opex. So if your capex is low, your opex is low, you can multiply faster. That's what I have cracked pretty well. And ultimately, I am able to multiply very fast. And that can only happen when you have a hub and spoke model, which means the dessert and bakery industry has been following hub and spoke models since ages. Momos industry is following hub and spoke models since ages. So that's what people will have to shift to, according to my knowledge, that you'll have to shift to that point to ensure that you get scalability faster.
So I would really like you to give an advice or some special learnings that you learned throughout your journey to our audience.
I think it's just very simple. Never give up. That's what I always say. मतलब कुछ भी हो जाए, I don't think. Yeah, but you should also not be foolish that if you're doing something bad and the product is really not that great, accept your defeat. But then if you know that you put your hard work into it, please don't give up. That's it. Just something works out for you. ऐसा है, मतलब something will happen and things just work in your favor if you've not given up.
Thank you very much for your time, Bhupinder. It was a lovely
you.
and amazing session with you.
Thank you, Prachi. Nice talking to you and great session.
All right. So we
Bye.
cut you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. So we cut you. It was amazing, Bhupinder. It was lovely.
Fine. Where are you people based out of? Aise? Delhi, Bombay?
No, we are based in Delhi only.
Acha, chalo,
Yeah.
great.
But we are like serving in like more than 50 plus countries as of now.
I know Posist is very nice. Anant karke, one of my friend was working with you people.
Anand Singh.
He's a very good friend of mine.
Oh, okay. I know. Yeah,
We were supposed to use Posist, but then hub and spoke model में it was not very, मतलब हमको set नहीं हो रहा था, so we have developed our own POS system.
Okay,
Yes,
you have your own POS system.
Yes.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so we are working like for the restaurants only. All of it, we are like globally expanding right now. So yeah.
I know Posist is one of the best here. मतलब उसके reports and everything is very good.
Yeah, that is true. You know, we
Yes.
work with a lot of time with the industry, but Posist is like the best I have been.
It's a standard. That's nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chalo, great, Prachi. Nice connecting with you. I'll have to rush.
Same
Have a
here.
nice day. Bye bye.
Okay, I'll send you the link when I publish it.
Done.